Welcome, everyone. I'm excited to kick off today's presentation with the topic, Quran as Wahy. On this first slide, we're introducing the fundamental concept that the Quran is revealed as divine revelation. Over the next few slides, we will explore what makes the Quran unique as a source of guidance, its significance in faith, and how it was conveyed as divine Wahy. So, let's dive into understanding the essence of the Quran as Wahy. Today, I want to talk about the word Wahy, which has many meanings in the Arabic language. Linguistically, it revolves around the idea of a secretive transfer of information. Think of it as a special way of communicating something deeply significant and often hidden. According to Phillips in Uzulat Tafsir, this concept highlights the mysterious and profound nature of Wahy. In an Islamic context, Wahy is specifically defined as the process by which Allah's divine words are revealed to his prophets. It's not just any communication, but a divine act where Allah communicates his message directly to a chosen person. The term Wahy is also used to refer to the actual words of Allah that are revealed to prophets. So, when we talk about the Quran, we're referring to it as Wahy because it is Allah's words conveyed to Prophet Muhammad. This connection is crucial because it underscores the divine origin and special nature of the Quran. It's not just a book, it's the very word of Allah, delivered through the process of Wahy. Understanding Wahy helps us appreciate the divine source of the Quran and its significance in our faith. It's the core way Allah communicates his guidance to humanity through his prophets. In this slide, we're exploring the methods Allah uses to reveal his words to the prophets. There are two main ways this happens. The first is through an angel, which we call indirect revelation. This means the angel acts as a messenger, conveying Allah's message to the prophet. The second way is through direct communication, but it's important to note that even in this case, it often occurs through dreams or behind a veil, so it's not always a face-to-face conversation. We refer to this as direct revelation. These two methods are clearly mentioned in the Quran, in Surah Ash-Shura, Verse 51. It states that Allah speaks to humans either through revelation, from behind a partition, or by sending a messenger. This verse emphasizes that Allah's methods are all under his control, and they highlight his wisdom and high status. Now, as we look at the Quran itself, we see that it was revealed using both of these methods, sometimes through angels, and other times through direct communication, like the visions or dreams experienced by the prophets. This understanding helps us appreciate the diverse ways Allah communicates his guidance to his messengers, which ultimately connects to our overall theme of divine communication and revelation. In this method of revelation, there is no intermediary, like an angel, standing between Allah and the prophets. But it's important to understand that Allah himself is not directly seen by the prophets in this process. Instead, Allah communicates his words to them in other ways. One way is through visions in their dreams, which are called true dreams. Prophets sometimes receive information about future events through these dreams, and this is considered a direct form of communication from Allah. Aisha, may Allah be pleased with her, narrated that the revelation to the prophet initially began as true visions in his sleep. She said that whenever he saw these visions, they would come true as surely as the dawn breaks. There are also moments when Allah commands prophets to do something through these dreams. For instance, Ibrahim, peace be upon him, was commanded in a dream to sacrifice his son Ismail. This shows that these true dreams are not just visions, but can also include divine commands, guiding the prophets in their actions. So, in essence, true dreams serve as a significant channel of divine revelation, especially when it comes to foretelling future events or issuing commands. This is a powerful aspect of how Allah communicates with his prophets, emphasizing the direct but subtle nature of divine guidance in this method. On this slide, we see a profound story from the Quran about obedience and trust in Allah's commands. It tells of a father, Ibrahim, who reaches a point in his life where he faces a difficult test. He sees a dream in which he is commanded to sacrifice his son, Ismail. He shares this with his son, who responds with unwavering faith, saying, "O my father, do as you are commanded. You will find me, if Allah wills, of the steadfast." This highlights a key concept. When a dream or a command comes from Allah, It is considered a divine instruction that must be obeyed. Ibrahim and Ismail understood this deeply. They saw the dream as a clear command from Allah, and they were prepared to fulfill it. Their example teaches us about ultimate obedience and trust in Allah's wisdom, even in the most testing circumstances. We also connect this story to the wider theme of divine guidance through dreams. For instance, Surah Al-Kawthar was revealed to Prophet Muhammad through a true dream. Anas ibn Malik narrates that the Prophet was in the mosque, dozing off, then woke up smiling. When asked why, he explained that a new surah had been revealed to him. This surah, Al-Kawthar, reassures us of Allah's blessings and emphasizes prayer and sacrifice as acts of devotion. Most importantly, these stories remind us that divine guidance can come through various forms: visions, dreams, or revelations, and our role is to recognize their significance and act in accordance with Allah's will. They encourage us to trust in Allah's plans, especially during challenging times, knowing that His guidance is always with us. Let's explore an interesting aspect of dreams and their significance. As the slide suggests, true dreams are often considered to be exclusive to prophets. However, it's important to recognize that ordinary people can also have true dreams. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, explained that dreams fall into three categories. First, there are true dreams, which are genuinely meaningful and often come from Allah. Then, there are dreams related to events that have already happened to the person. These reflect past experiences. Lastly, there are dreams caused by shaitan to frighten or disturb us. Now, while all the Prophet's dreams are considered true, for ordinary people, the situation is a bit different. Some dreams experienced by ordinary folks can be true, but only after they happen. This means that if someone dreams of an event that later occurs, that dream was indeed true. Therefore, the key point here is that, for an ordinary person's dream to be recognized as truly prophetic or meaningful beforehand, it must occur before we consider it genuine. In other words, the true dreams of ordinary people are only confirmed as true after the event has taken place. This highlights an important distinction in how we view dreams, whether for prophets or for regular individuals, and underscores the importance of patience and observation before assigning significance to a dream. On this slide, we're exploring how Allah communicates directly with the prophets, specifically when they are in a wakeful state. It's important to understand that although the prophets are awake and conscious during these moments, they do not actually see Allah with their physical eyes. The reason for this is that Allah is veiled by His light, which acts as a barrier or a veil. When the Prophet was asked about seeing Allah, he explained that He is light. How could he see Him? This is a well-known statement recorded in Sahih Muslim. The light of Allah creates a kind of barrier, so direct visual perception isn't possible. We know from Islamic tradition that only two prophets experienced this form of direct communication with Allah: Prophet Musa and Prophet Muhammad. For Prophet Musa, Allah describes this communication in the Quran, emphasizing that those who deny the signs of Allah and the hereafter have wasted their deeds. And for Prophet Muhammad, this form of divine communication occurred during his miraculous ascent into the heavens, known as Al-Isra wa al-Miraj. This event highlights the special status of these prophets and the unique ways Allah chose to speak with them. So, in summary, this slide illustrates how Allah communicates with His prophets in a way that's profound yet veiled, through light and special manifestations, emphasizing the closeness and intimacy between Allah and His chosen messengers. This slide explains the most common method of revelation. In this method, an angel conveys a message from Allah directly to the prophets. Most parts of the Quran were revealed through this process. There are two ways this type of revelation occurred when it came to the Quran. First, it can happen as a reverberating sound, similar to the ringing of a bell. Second, it can happen as a direct communication, where the prophet directly hears the message from the angel. When the revelation occurs as a reverberating sound, the angel stays in a spiritual state. The prophet is then elevated to a spiritual level that allows him to receive the message. The sound of the angel in this case is very loud, like a giant bell ringing. The Prophet himself described this form of revelation as the most challenging or severe. This highlights how intense and demanding this method can be for the Prophet. So, in summary, this form of revelation involves either a powerful sound or direct communication, and it's the most common way Allah conveyed his messages to the prophets. Let's take a closer look at the form of revelation described here. The Prophet explained that sometimes revelation comes to him like the ringing of a bell. This is actually considered one of the most severe forms he experienced. When the ringing stops, he would understand what the angel had conveyed. Aisha, on the other hand, observed that during these moments, even on extremely cold days, the Prophet's forehead would be dripping with sweat once the revelation ceased. This highlights the intense physical and emotional impact these experiences had on him. Now, moving on to the next point, the direct communication between the angel and the Prophet. This form of revelation is actually simpler compared to the ringing sound. In this case, the angel appears to the Prophet in a human form, which makes the interaction more straightforward. The angel would then communicate whatever Allah commanded him to say. This direct form of revelation emphasizes clarity and ease of understanding, making it a significant method of divine communication. Connecting this to the overall theme, these different forms of revelation show the diverse ways Allah chose to communicate his message. Whether through intense, ringing sounds or direct human appearances, each method served a unique purpose in guiding the Prophet, and through him, all of us. Certainly, here's the word-by-word narrative script for slide 10. Copyright 2024 by Continuous Learning Development. The Prophet described this form in the following narration. Occasionally, the angel appears before me in the form of a man and speaks to me, and I grasp all that he says. Sahih al-Bukhari, V1 P2. What this highlights is the extraordinary nature of the Prophet's experiences when receiving divine messages. It shows that sometimes the angel takes on a human form, making the communication more relatable and understandable. And importantly, the Prophet mentions that he is able to grasp all that is conveyed, emphasizing clarity and comprehension in these divine encounters. This example underscores the significance of clear communication and understanding in our own learning and development journeys. It ties into our overall theme of continuous learning, highlighting that divine guidance, like our learning process, often involves clarity, receptiveness, and connection. So, as we progress, remember that openness and understanding are key to truly grasping new knowledge and insights. Wahy, or divine revelation, can be divided into three main types. These are Quran, Hadith Qudsi, and Hadith of the Prophet. As we've discussed earlier, we already have a lot of information about the Quran from the previous lessons. Now, a Hadith Qudsi is a special type of revelation where Allah's words are revealed in Arabic directly to the Prophet Muhammad. It's important to understand that both the Quran and Hadith Qudsi are similar in that they are both the words of Allah revealed in Arabic to the Prophet. However, their differences are quite significant. For example, reciting the Quran is considered an act of worship. It is a fundamental part of our salah, and it carries spiritual rewards. On the other hand, reciting Hadith Qudsi, while highly revered and important for understanding Allah's messages, is not originally classified as an act of worship. This is why, during Salah, we recite the Quran, but we do not recite Hadith Qudsi. It's a key distinction that helps us understand the different roles these revelations play in our worship and daily lives. In summary, understanding these differences helps us appreciate the unique status of each type of Wahy and how they guide us in our faith journey. As for the Hadith of the Prophet, these are the statements that carry divine guidance, with their meanings coming directly from Allah. However, they are expressed in the Prophet's words, which makes them more accessible and understandable. Some hadiths are based on the Prophet's own reasoning and judgment, but it's important to remember that these are ultimately approved by Allah. Sometimes, the Prophet might have made a mistake or an error, but even then, Allah corrects or clarifies these points. This highlights the divine origin and the careful validation of the sayings we hold dear. Understanding this helps us see the balance between human expression and divine revelation, which is central to our appreciation of Islamic teachings. It's a reminder that these sayings are not just human words, they are part of a divine message, meant to guide us on the right path.